Alright, so I woke up this morning and this album popped up into my mind for some reason. I know that sounds like a terrible way to start your morning, but if you know me, you know that I've listened to this album tens of times. I want to say around 30 or so in total. So this thing has become a little bit of a recreational listen. I was thinking about the tracks and then obviously wanted to tier list them because that's what I do, and then realized I could probably turn it into a video, so here we are. The tiers are pretty much based on, like, if I put it in a playlist, how I kind of feel about it. Like, obviously the best is it comes to my mind and it's the best, but these are pretty self-explanatory. I feel I'll probably go into my choices, why they're there when I get to them, but I'm sure you'll know what it means. Also, don't worry about the current placement. This tier list is a bunch of tracks. I am not going to do these, and there was another one that was not as clear as I'd like, so that's what we're working with. Starting us off, A1, the one that I think everyone is familiar with. It's Just a Burning Memory, as it's titled. It popped up in memes. It was the way that I was introduced to the album through Silva Gunner, that's a story on its own, but definitely like hearing it, that's for sure. A2, We Don't Have Many Days. I definitely like it. There is plenty of there's plenty of stage 1 tracks that they're definitely background music, so expect a lot of these. But short loop, pleasant piano. I think the atmosphere for stage 1, the reverb, it works pretty well for this song, so definitely like it. But again, I might skip it, so. A3, Late Afternoon Drifting. Pretty much a similar spot as A3. I don't know how much I'm going to order these. I don't think I can order them in tier because of 50 songs. I don't know if I want to do that, but this would probably fall lower than A2. It does drift a little bit, and it gets a little. I can be a little hesitant with it sometimes, but I definitely do like it. So A4, Childishly Fresh Eyes. The horns come back, but I don't think as good as A1, that's for sure. A5, Slightly Bewildered. I'm not gonna lie, there's something about this one that doesn't really hit for me. It's maybe it's the key it's at. It's just kind of off. I guess that helps in context, but listening to it normally, I don't know. Although A6, Things That Are Beautiful and Transient, funnily enough, this is also one that fits more into the concept, because someone pointed out that there is a very obvious hitch as it loops, so that's a little key into the whole concept, but musically, pleasant, very nice. Alright, B1, All That Follows Is True. Honestly, I might just start blowing through stage 1 because my feelings on a lot of these are a lot of the same. There's not much variation on them. They're all the piano or horn loops that are, varying levels of pleasant, and then it feels a little random on how much I like them, but not that random. I say that, but also B2, an autumnal equinox. I don't know if I care about pronouncing that right, but yeah, same place. Alright, we'll actually go quick though. B3, Quiet Internal Rebellions, same story as the rest. B4, The Loves of My Entire Life. Okay, this one also I actually will probably skip. It's same story as What the heck? Same story as the previous. I don't know. It just sits in a weird spot. I can't find myself coming back to it consciously, at least. Like, I'm fine listening to it. B5, Into Each Other's Eyes, same story, you know the deal. But B6, My Heart Will Stop in Joy, one of the best titles of any song in this, so that alone helps it a lot. But also, the sound of it represents that title really well, I think. It is triumphant, if I had to say, and hearing that after all this is it's definitely really enjoyable and makes me come back to it, I will say. Alright, so on to stage 2. This is where things get interesting, both musically and in terms of my opinions. C1. I like hearing it, but I also don't. That static in the background still kind of hurts me after all this time. Plus it's called A Losing Battle is Raging. It makes it a little hard to enjoy when I have that in the back of my mind, but I do like hearing it. It is pleasant, kind of hurts, but here it is. C2, Misplaced in Time. It doesn't hurt nearly as bad as C1. So I can say confidently that the little flowy, sort of woozy feel to it it's enjoyable. I like hearing it. We then have C3, What Does It Matter That My... What Does It Matter How My Heart Breaks? This is the second rendition of Al Boli's Heartaches, which is the sample used for A1. And in my opinion, I think the best one on the album, so it's going up here. It is just... There's a really distinctly jazzy feel to it that I definitely do like hearing, even though it's like obviously slowed and there's a little sad undertone under it, but the melody is really nice here. C4, Glimpses of Hope in Trying Times, another but I like hearing it. That like sonar sound at the beginning is really it's really striking, and the way it develops is not common in the early stages, so it is refreshing to hear, even though that like build it has is arguably kind of sad considering the title, but for some reason I can put the title past this one sometimes better than most. But C5, Surrendering to Despair, yeah, it's dawning on me. My relationship with stage 2 still stands, where it's kind of painful. I like the songs, but wow, the emotional punch still remains. This one, it's really just moody. It's slow and painfully moody, but damn, it's good. Oh, also the fucking like the footsteps are so jarring in a really neat way that I definitely do like hearing it. D1, I Still Feel As Though I Am Me, is probably the hardest title for me to get through, because fuck. Alongside how the music sounds, it definitely feels like someone trying to continue being I'm gonna get past that. We're gonna be here all day if I keep doing it, but I would definitely, I have to put this here. It hurts me, and it hurts me to talk about, but I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna go on to the next. D2, Quiet Dusk Coming Early. Okay, this one's actually really pleasant. And also, I didn't mention it, but the amount of times the tracks in stage 2 loops is less, and this one I think is just 2 loops, and they are 2 very long and very pretty sections, so that gives it its spot. D3, Last Moments of Pure Recall, I think is the same story as D2. Honestly, I think I like it more than D2 and more than most tracks up here. That little bell ding at the... I don't think it's at the end of the loop, but there's a little bell ding that's really pleasant, as well as, I mean, the rest of the track just being this nice, flowy experience. It's, I don't know. This one's genuinely nice. I guess it is the last moment of period. Yeah. D4, Denial Unraveling. Basically the same story as the rest. It doesn't have the emotional punch personally as these ones, but I do like hearing it. Stage 2 is really good, even though it hurts. Speaking of really good and hurts, D5. This is going into the best, titled The Way Ahead Feels Lonely. It has the same feel of B6 where it's triumphant, but this one sucks. It is right before the drop-off of stage 3, and it is a sad, sad triumph. But holy shit, is it powerful, and I cannot deny the sheer just... alright, yeah, amazing track. Moving on to stage 3 now, the first track, Back There Benjamin. The titles are... I don't have to deal with the emotional titles of stage 2 anymore, so this is going to be a lot better. Except for... I'm not going to lie, this track, at first, kind of made me nauseous. There's something about it, the way it... The reverb, I don't know if it's actually reverb, but the way it like repeats more times than it needs to, that it echoes more times than it needs to, was like genuinely somewhat nauseating. But then I got over it, and it's here. It is also it's the first appearance of Russ Morgan's Goodnight My Beautiful, which is like the second leitmotif of this album. And I'm not sure if leitmotif is correct in the way that this album uses it, but I'm just gonna say it is. It doesn't matter to me. E2 and Heartbreaks, the third and final, except not final actually, rendition of Heartaches. It is a little like, it's like Heartaches but sickly, and it's interesting listen, and it's definitely enjoyable. Hidden Sea Buried Deep. Literally just some quick piano, like, decrescendo? Is that what that's called? And then this thing that, like, I always imagined lungs. It's this, like, popping, thumping. It's weird, but it's got, like, this organic feel to it, or at least I get an organic feel from it. It is interesting, but it is repetitive and simple. I enjoy it, but I might skip it. E4, Lebet's All Joyful Camaraderie, or is it Lebet? I think I always say Lebet, so I'm gonna continue saying Lebet, as unfortunate as that is. This is the second version of the song used in E1, but a different section of the song, and also just kind of normal. Almost normal, more normal than anything in E3, which puts it next to E1. E5 to the Minimal Great Hidden. Really just a glitchy, staticky, vaguely, like, there's some vague horn sounds, but it's just an ambient piece that's really quick and really sets the mood, but I can't in good faith put it any higher. It's fine. E6, Sublime Beyond Loss. Probably one of the most heavily I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but it definitely sounds like the most altered track in this stage. And partially because of that, but partially because the original sample is just as pleasant as it is, I have to put it here. I really enjoy this one. It doesn't loop. It's just 2 minutes of glitchy, woozy, just almost, I want to say psychedelic here, but it's something else. E7, Bewildered in Others' Eyes. I'm not gonna lie. If anything on this album is cliche, I feel like this is. Which is funny because it's a cliche that does work. Because it's just the creepy, twinkly sound, and I don't know. I don't really feel it. I wouldn't fully skip it because I still kind of like the twinkly sound itself, but Then we have E8, Long-Term Dusk Glimpses. It's kind of a throwback to Stage 2's sound in the middle of Stage 3, and also a very pleasant section. And so it goes up here. This is one of the songs that's just genuinely good as it is, and I don't have to have emotional baggage that comes with it, so it's kind of awesome. F1, Gradations of Arm's Length. It feels kind of like E5, where it's basically an ambient piece. I mean, okay, funny I say that because that's the album. It's an ambient piece, but also it's just doesn't really go much of anywhere, and it just kind of sits in one spot. It's pleasant. It's got a mood. It's got a feel, but can't put it any higher. Then we have F2, Drifting Time Misplaced. This goes places. This dips down into underwater territory and then comes back up, and I don't know why, but it is, if you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about. It's just a piano loop, and it just dips, and then it goes up, and then it dips, and it's like so intriguing. It's muffled, and then more so, I don't know. It just fluctuates in such an endearing way. Plus the loop is really good, so it belongs in the best tier. Then we have Internal Bewildered World, which I'm honestly pretty sure is Heartaches, but smushed to shit, and is just this droning. It's a little imposing, and it's definitely more of a mood piece, but it sits here. F4, Burning Despair Does Ache. This is the actual last vaguely coherent rendition of Heartaches, and I know I said the other one is sickly, but actually I'm not sure where I sit with this one. It is, I know it's basically as off-putting as Sublime Beyond Loss, but it uses I'm pretty sure it uses a completely different rendition of Heartaches. I mean, C3 does as well, but I don't know if I like it as much. So I'm going to put it, I think I'll actually have to put it here. F5, Aching Cavern Without Lucidity. This one's funny because it's another just straight up drone, but the funny thing about this drone is I like it. That's about all there is to it. An Empty Bliss Beyond This World. Anyways, that's what this is. And it is, I definitely do like hearing it. It's got the same watery feel, but definitely a lesser section, but definitely good. Now on to Le Bit Delay, the stage 3 version, which The funny thing about this one is, yeah, that's the funny thing about this one. This is by far top 3 track for me in this project. There's something about it. It is so washed out, but becomes so heavenly for whatever reason. The low end is this just droning, beautiful bass frequency that I love that, first off, but the way the horn just smooths it over on top, it is ethereal. So, yeah, holy moly. I hear it, I go holy moly. But, on to F8. Mournful Camaraderie. Technically, actually, also Heartaches. This one also feels sickly. It kind of reminds me of, Jeffrey Cantu Ledesma's Love is a Stream, the final track off of that thing. Which could not make sense to plenty of you, but it's kind of just a droning horn and then some glitches, which, I mean, that doesn't stop me, but I feel like it honestly, it goes either of these spots on any given day, but because it's any given day, I think I have to put it here. And with that, we are halfway done with the stages, but also not at all. I'm not sure how I'm going to do these. I'm going to have to do them off feel because of how many different sections are within each individual track. I'm just going to generalize. It's going to be my vague feelings on it. So let's get into it. G1, post-awareness confusions. Layers of horns coming in and out. Different sections of it. Doesn't do much for me. Well, in album, it does a lot for me. But I do skip it. Then we have H1 post-awareness confusions, which I'm gonna get Hell Sirens out of the way. That part's cool. The part before and after that part is also cool. For that, I should probably put it up here. The just confusion sections, I feel kind of the same as G1 with them, but also it has all sirens. Then we have I1 temporary bliss state. As a hot take, I really want to put it in will skip, because what it is E7 basically, but for 20 minutes, which sometimes it works, it's fine, it's blissful enough, but it really doesn't do enough for me. But I also can't say that I dislike it enough to just always skip it. So, and I don't dislike it. It's just kind of there. But something that isn't just kind of there is J1. I like J1. I like J1 a lot. It is somewhat of a continuation of I1, but it is sad. The horns are sad, very, very tortured sounding. But then those fade out, and then you get this, I want to say like 7-minute section of just blissful, I don't even know what instrument it is, but it's something, and it rings out, and it is gorgeous. That final section is definitely one of my favorite sections on the project. The whole track isn't as good as that final section. If it was just that final section, it would probably go in Holy Moly, but very, very good song. Finishing off stage 4, going into stage 5, Funnily enough, I think this is also another very, very good song. I warmed up to it because there was a commenter on Rate Your Music who, all of his all of his reviews of this album are trashing on it, except for partially stage 5, where he says the textures are really cool. And so I went into stage 5 thinking, okay, what does he see in these textures that I don't? And K1, if you can look at and appreciate its textures, these sections are really, really enthralling. The clarities on one hand suck a lot, yes, but undeniably they are very cool and give it such a dynamic flow. There's, I think, I'm not gonna get this right, but somewhere around 6 sections, and each one is so distinct when you can actually feel them out, and I like each and every one of them. I can't put it into holy moly because sometimes it hurts and sometimes it's too much, but it's really cool. Something that is honestly kind of similar to K1 is L1, but also this one is built to wear you out. I don't know how long the section is, but I know there's a long section where the right ear gets pulsing white noise, just in and out, just white noise, and it's exhausting. It pulls your attention in a way that works really, really well for what this part of the album's doing, but it does hurt. M1 though, oh right, sorry, these actually had names. K1 was Advanced Plaque Entanglement, and so is L1, but M1 is Synapse Retrogenesis, I think, and this one is largely I can't remember off the number, but it's a very similar drone as the stage 3 track that I like, but with a little bit of texture on top. And for that, I actually really enjoy it, weirdly enough. Then we've got the ending of stage 5, N1 sudden time regression into isolation. I'm not sure. It is quite droney, and I do like the way it progressively fades out. There's something really striking about that. I do like it from a soundscape perspective, but I don't actually know if I have a but. I think I just like this one. I don't think about it much, but I'm just gonna leave this here for now, honestly. That brings us into stage 6. You'll figure out what I feel about this stage in a second, but goddamn, these soundscapes. 01, absolutely cavernous. Just the sheer awe I get from this sound, I can't put it anywhere else. Sorry, the stage 6 actually does have the titles. 01 is A Confusion So Thick You Forget Forgetting, also a cool title, so there's that. P1 is A Brutal Bliss Beyond This Empty Defeat, which this one scared the absolute shit out of me when I first heard it. I mean, so did Hell Sirens, but I think this one was the worst. This one was like, my hair stood up for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. This one was waves of fear rolling through me. And that's all because the whatever that rolling crackle sound was. But compared to what the rest of states... Okay, well, that's not that fair, but this is where I'm gonna put it. I do think it's very interesting, but what it does, I'm kind of iffy on. Yeah, Q1 long decline is over. I know I said this is top 3, but really, it's these two fighting for top 1. The drones of Q1, for whatever reason, sound amazing to me. They sound absolutely beautiful to me. And then they have the absolutely beautiful strikes of horn piano throughout them that are I'm enamored with this thing. I don't feel the duration when I listen to it, and it is just sheer bliss to me. And then we have R1, which takes after Q1, but instead of being the sort of inorganic drones, it is a very organic organ, and that is pretty. And it also has the final section, which is also pretty. So I think it has to go up here, right? It is good, and I do. Oof. It could be a best, but do I like it as much as the twinkling, as the textures, as all this? I think I'll just put it there. I think I'm fine with that. Alright, so this is my that completes it. This is my tier list coming from someone who has listened to it recreationally for like 2 years or something. Thank you. That'll be all.